Subaru have launched a special edition Outback called the Sport Touring XT. And with 5 models already available, do we need a special edition? Probably not, but the exclusive Geyser Blue paintwork and design may be what you're looking for if you want an Outback that stands out from the pack. And in this review, we're family testing whether this model does, so stay watching. There are usually 5 models available for the Subaru Outback, but this is a special edition that blends the qualities and features of the top Touring XT grade with some exclusive design changes. And despite technically sitting now at the top of the Outback pack, this is only $500 dearer than the top model. And it still offers great value compared to its European rivals, like the Skoda Kodiaq RS and the Volkswagen Tiguan Allspace R-Line, without missing out on any features. Standard equipment includes satellite navigation, heated and ventilated front seats, heated rear outboard seats, and a heated steering wheel. But the full specs are in my full written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more info. Despite being classed as a large SUV, the Subaru Outback has always begged the question on whether or not it's actually an SUV or just a station wagon. It certainly has the dimensions of its peers until you come to its lower height, but the 213mm ground clearance ensures that this all-wheel drive means business. This limited edition model is paired with an exclusive blue paintwork, dark 18-inch alloys, as well as a host of green features across the car. You also get black badging and a spoiler at the back. It does share the same plastic molding as its siblings, but overall it looks like it has adventure on the mind. The interior features a flashy looking 11.6-inch touchscreen multimedia system, but the instrument cluster is still mostly analog, and you get heaps of buttons and dials to press, as well as a proper gear shifter. And it's a design like this which makes it pretty appealing to folks like my parents, who want a car to look like a car and have all of its bits where you expect them to be. Overall, this cabin feels very premium, but not fussy. Access and space is really good up front, and the electric front seats are super comfortable. The driver's side does benefit the most though, because it gets additional lumbar support and under thigh extendable support. And it would have been nice to have seen at least one of these on the passenger side as well. The storage isn't class leading, but I do like that you got a dual opening middle console, a little shelf in front of the passenger, and a sunglasses holder. However, this little pocket here, which I presume is where you put your phone, is a little bit annoying to access because it's quite small and narrow. The touchscreen multimedia system looks good and is relatively simple to use while also being responsive. The vertical positioning of it though means that when you have the wireless Apple CarPlay functioning, some of the icons and text look quite small, and I have made a few accidental calls this week because of it. This does have wireless Android Auto as well as the sat-nav like I mentioned. Charging options are pretty good. You get a single USB A and C port as well as a 12-volt socket. But surprisingly for this grade level, you do miss out on a wireless charging pad. And for some other old school touches, you get an auxiliary jack as well as a CD player in this model. Access to the back row is pretty good for an adult, but the footwell does sit quite high, and that means that it does catch your feet occasionally when you get in and out. And my son did grumble a lot this week about how heavy the doors are to operate. Seat comfort though is really good, and taller occupants are going to be very happy with how spacious it is back here. The amenities and storage are pretty good back here. You get a single USB A and C port, heat functions for the outboard seats, directional air vents, the usual cup holders, as well as 2 mat pockets and 4 device holders. I also like that the armrest sits at a decent height to actually be useful, and my son really liked the view he got out of the windows because of the low windowsills. The Outback has 2 ISOFIX child seat mounts and 3 top tether anchor points. And I reckon you could probably fit 3 child seats side by side if they're not too large. The boot has 522 litres of capacity available, which is plenty big enough for a decent grocery haul or the odd road trip. The level floor also makes it easy to slide things in and out, and surprisingly you get a full-size spare tyre in this, which is pretty rare nowadays, and it's always handy having a power tailgate. This model gets the XT's 2.4 litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol boxer engine that produces a hefty 183 kilowatts of power and 350 newton meters of torque. It also gets the retuned continuously variable transmission, which makes gear changing really smooth but very punctual, which is great. This Outback model is so nice to drive, and if I could only use one word to describe the on-road experience, it would be smooth. The power delivery is really prompt. You feel like you've got a lot of power in reserve even when you're getting up to speed, and that makes this a really nice open roader, but it also feels quite sprightly in the city, which is good too. Ride comfort is pretty high in this, and it's only really once you start hitting higher speeds on the highway that you get some wind noise creeping up. But otherwise, the cabin's really quiet, and you can easily chat to people in the back seat without having to raise your voice, which is nice. The higher ride doesn't translate to a bumpy suspension feeling at all. You don't glide over any of the bumps, you still feel them, which is good as a driver, but again, pretty smooth. The visibility is really good because of the wide windows, and none of the pillars get in my way from my driving position. Your rear view vision is hindered quite a lot though because of the headrests, and if you do have a couple of passengers in the back or a big booster seat, you're not going to get a lot of vision out there, which is a shame. The steering is responsive and feels like it's on the right side of firm for me, which makes this feel agile no matter what I'm really throwing at it. A winding road, big open highway, or the city, this tackles it well. The Outback is almost 4.9 meters long, and that means it really does fill out a car space. But I still have found it pretty easy to park because the steering is so agile and it makes it easy to squeeze into a little car park. However, it does have a reversing camera, but not a 360-degree view camera system, which I would have expected at this grade level. And you miss out on front parking sensors. Unfortunately, the turbo petrol engine produces an official combined fuel cycle figure of a not so efficient 9 litres per 100 kilometres. And based on the 63 litre fuel tank, you should see theoretical driving range of up to 700 kilometres. And that's best case scenario, but I would definitely expect less in the city. After doing a mix of open road driving and city driving this week, my real world usage has come out at 9.3 litres, which I actually thought wasn't too bad considering I have definitely used the power in this thing, but not as good as some of the hybrid models that we're starting to see in this segment now. The Outback comes with a maximum 5-star ANCAP safety rating from testing done in 2021, has 8 airbags and a really long and robust safety features list, including all of the biggies. But I particularly like that the driver monitoring system has been improved from the previous models. And now, while still sensitive, it doesn't chime at you all the time when you're driving, which is great. But the full safety specs are in my detailed written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more info. Subaru offers the Outback with a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, but it is starting to become more normal to see longer warranty periods now. You can pre-purchase a 3 or 5 year servicing program, and the 5-year program averages $529 per service, which is very good for the class. Servicing intervals are reasonable at 12 months or 15,000 kilometres, whichever occurs first. The Subaru Outback Sport Touring XT is the car you get when you want a beefed up station wagon that's masquerading as an SUV that can do all the adventuring stuff and haul the family around in comfort. This model has great features and a really reasonable price point, but the fuel thirst will turn off some people, so that's why it gets the score that's on your screen now. But if you're after more details, check out the full review at carsguide.com.au. I'll see you next week.